If you clicked on this video, I imagine that you know most of the tea and are familiar with who Alpha Drive 1 are, so I'll be giving only a quick summary. Boys 2 Planet was a South Korean reality competition survival show created by MNET that premiered on July 17th and 18th and ended on September 25th in 2025. It was a sequel to MNET's prior competition shows Girls Planet 999 from 2021 and Boys Planet from 2023. To say that Boys 2 Planet faced controversy would be, an understatement. What was once two shows, Planet K and Planet C, was suddenly combined to be one show. There was purging of C Planet contestants, leaving only a handful when the merge happened, and that was only some of the controversies with the show's production. There was so much more with contestants individually, but I digress. Despite all the hills and valleys, it led to the formation of an 8-member boy group named Alpha Drive 1. And yeah, I know. The name alone was contentious, and there's a lot I could say about it, but I'm just not even going to touch upon it. The final lineup was generally well accepted, as there was a fairly even split between Korean and Chinese contestants. This included Kim Jun-seo, Jang Sang-hyun, Lee Leo, Jang Jia-hao, Kim Gun-woo, Ha Shin-long, Jo An-shin, and Lee Sang-won. I recently watched a video essay by Wireshed titled WAKEONE's Achilles Heel. It's an excellent video and I'd highly recommend you go watch it. I'll link it in the description below, so please check it out if you're interested. In the video, they detailed WAKEONE's track record of incompetence and mismanagement in handling survival show groups. In every musical endeavor, there are common underlying problems that set their groups up for failure. Wireshed, in their video, analyzed the company's history of failing their artists through 1. Mismanagement and alleged mistreatment of certain members, 2. Neglect and misuse of their artists' talents, 3. Lack of creative direction despite having limited time, and 4. Not capitalizing enough on the hype from the survival shows the groups were formed through. This all then begs the question, will ALD1 be susceptible to WAKEONE's tragic flaws? In this video, I want to take a look at ALD1's management thus far, and then predict their trajectory following their debut. For context, I've been following the ALD1 members since Boys 2 Planet, and was even familiar with a couple of them before the show even started, such as Leo and Sungwon through Trainee A, and Junsa through WeI and his starring role in Secret Relationships. I also watched Boys Planet and Girls Planet 999 when they first aired, as well as bits and pieces of the Produce 101 and 48 series. I'm a seasoned MNET survival show watcher, much to my own chagrin. As much as I despise it, I keep coming back to see what drama and trickery MNET is cooking up. If there is anything I can give MNET credit for, is that they're good at getting people invested in their shows and their contestants. I religiously woke up early to watch the Boys 2 Planet live streams, even when I knew I would be tired from my university classes. The sleep deprivation was worth it though. I've been here since day one, and I want to take the time to analyze what I believe WAKEONE has planned for the members. This video will cover a lot, so please feel free to skip to the parts of the video that are of interest to you. I hope my passion for these boys can be felt through the screen, and I would love to make some ALD friends. But anyways, let's just get started. Chapter 1. Are we off to the right start? One of the key criticisms of WAKEONE's handling of their groups is their institutional neglect and negligence when promoting their artists. Despite the fact that many of their groups did not have the luxury of 7-year contracts, they were dropping content at a drip-slow rate on the basis that they had enough time to figure things out as they go. Their lack of urgency and lack of creative direction were detrimental to them capitalizing on the hype of their groups. For most of their active artists, following the finale of their respective MNET-produced survival show, there'd be a time of radio silence, a time of waiting. If the fandom was not completely invested in the members, or if they were simply casual watchers of the survival show, there was a high likelihood that the group's debut would fall off the radar for some people. Survival show groups work on a time limit. It is a game of seeing how long you can keep an audience's attention and keep them interested in the group beyond the airing of the survival show that birthed them. For instance, let's take a look at Zero Base One, ALD1's boy group predecessor, who debuted with their EP, Youth in the Shade, on July 10, 2023. The finale for Boys Planet that created the group was on April 20th, so there was a period of roughly 2.5 months between the group's conception and releasing any music. From my memory as a Zeros, this time of waiting felt quite long, as little content was released during this period of time. Fans were left seemingly in the dark about what the boys were up to, and any progress about the album until closer to the debut date. The first video released after the finale on their YouTube channel was a teaser for their debut EP, uploaded on May 13th. This left Zeros with nothing but social media updates and live streams before this, no substantial content to consume, and thus a lack of connection with the members, a feeling of distance. So, has Alpha Drive 1 suffered the same fate? The answer, surprisingly, is no. I have to give WAKEONE some credit for learning from their previous mistakes about not capitalizing off of the hype coming off of their survival shows. This time around, WAKEONE made quick use of the members. Not even a couple hours from the finale livestream, the boys were put in front of a camera to livestream on Instagram. The period of time following the end of Boys 2 Planet was full of updates, uploads, and content. So much content. It was like retribution for their past mishandlings with Zero Base 1 by overworking the ALD1 members. I do not want to definitively say whether this was a good or bad choice. However, I will point out that this did keep the hype for the group going. ALD1 has been cranking out content at a consistent rate. By pushing out livestream, behind the scenes, and variety content, WAKEONE is able to continue to build hype for ALD1's debut and keep the attention of waiting fans. It was also a strategic move to have ALD1 perform at award shows like MAMA and MMA. Not only were we able to get a sneak peek into their sound and build up anticipation for the full EP, but the appearances also allowed for ALD1 to be spotlighted and catch the eyes of new fans. WAKEONE and MNET, at their very core, are businesses. Capitalistic businesses. Every action, whether kind or not to the members and the fans, is simply done to lead to the most profit. Providing channels for connection and staying tuned into their pre-debut artists allows them to create a pool of potential fans, and let's be real, potential consumers. It also provides them with content to stream on their network and tangible evidence of ALD1's potential. If the pre-debut content is successful, this is a good sign that the investments they are making into ALD1 will pay off once they officially debut. Compared to the first season of Boys Planet, the second season was massively popular. In the final survival announcement, each of the members accumulated millions upon millions of votes, almost triple the total of the first season winning contestants, nationally and globally. Their level of popularity cannot be understated. As such, it would be a waste for WAKEONE not to capitalize on this level of national and global attention. They have an extremely talented lineup in the palm of their hands, and if they play their cards right, they can make the most of their popularity. These are the ideas that I believe are driving WAKEONE's sense of urgency in handling ALD1 as compared to Zero Base 1. They have more to lose here. WAKEONE's reputation is already abysmal, so they cannot make any missteps. The patience of fans is already worn thin. It's difficult to build back up trust once it is broken down. WAKEONE knows this, and so they're creating content like there's no tomorrow. The Boys 2 Planet finale was live-streamed on September 25th. As I mentioned previously, they live-streamed the debut lineup immediately after the finale on Instagram. Starting from September 28th, WAKEONE made a consistent effort to post almost daily, whether that be shorts, behind the drive, Instagram live streams, and even photo shoots. Some notable updates were a leader and fandom name announcement. Then finally came the long-form content posted on their YouTube channel. Every Thursday, starting from October 16th, they released an episode of ALD1's variety show, One Dream Forever, which allowed fans to see the members interact with each other, be stupid and goofy, and show off parts of their personalities that were not highlighted in the survival show. They also released a pair of episodes detailing the members' dorm life and dynamics called ALD1 Diary. Then came their pre-release single, Formula, which was unveiled at MAMA, with the song officially being up for streaming on December 3rd. As of the recording of this video, ALD1's YouTube channel has 171 videos, 11 episodes of One Dream Forever, 16 behind-the-scenes videos, and a slew of short-form content and teaser trailers for their debut. We've gotten all of this content in less than 3 months. This doesn't even include the photo shoots, pictorials, and whole other variety show, Alpha Drive 1 Let's Go, they've been airing on a weekly basis since December 23rd. Just listing all of this is exhausting. I can hardly imagine how tired the members must be. Both the members and the staff at WAKEONE must be working around the clock to crank all of this content out. Although the quality and relevancy of their dance challenges and short-form content are questionable, I commend the sheer level of commitment to promote ALD1. In this way, they do break the curse of fizzling out into irrelevancy prior to debut that so many survival show groups experience. They're trying to make the most out of it, which is admirable. However, whether this strategy will be successful and continue in the long run post their debut EP is up in the air. A part of me that is endlessly distrusting of WakeOne and their management cannot help but wonder if this level of support from the company for ALD1 is ephemeral. I question whether they will continue to push the group after their initial music releases. Will the support die out, or will it continue? Chapter 2: Predicting ALD1's Future Trajectory. Now on to what I would say is the most fun part of this video: predicting ALD1's trajectory as a group. From what I've seen so far, ALD1 has been set up for success in ways that many of WakeOne's previous survival show groups were not. These were not things that the members nor the company could control, but they may play a part in ALD1's potential to succeed. The first of which is that the members have been shown to be better as one team, not as individual strong contestants who happen to be in the same group. Not just through their concept as Alpha Drive 1, but also through the pairings and history we know the members to have. ALD1 is one. In many ways, fans cannot imagine a world where the members were separated from each other. Let me illustrate this idea through comparing them to their predecessor Zero Base 1 and their fanbase Zeros. Zero Base 1 throughout their career has suffered from akges, or malevolent solo fans. When Zero Base 1 was formed, there was internal conflict from the very beginning about whether Jang Hao deserved to be the center. I was a Jang Hao 1 pick, and I still remember the way some toxic Korean fans made a fuss about how Sung Bin was born to be the true center and how he was robbed of that spot. Tensions were raised as the member who ranked first in the show would have a solo track on the debut album. These points of contention continued to exist all throughout their time as a group. Some members were spotlighted and given opportunities where others were not. I bring all of this up because somehow ALD1 is avoided starting off with internal fighting amongst fans in ways that many survival show groups have, such as Kepler and Zero Base 1. Of course, there will always be fans who are unsatisfied by the rankings and may quibble about who deserved what position, but from what I have experienced as an elite, most fans seem to be satisfied with the lineup, and I believe that the show made it clear that the rankings just don't matter. If you made the group, you made the group. This sense of group cohesion could also be perhaps explained by the fact that many of the members within the group have formed their own pairings. Members were associated with each other. As such, it was common for star creators during Boys to Planet to vote for Sungwon and Leo together or Anshin and Jiahao together, as they were seen as two-piece sets. The members have histories and backgrounds with each other that, whether fans want to admit it or not, contributed to them making the debut lineup. They were seen as inseparable. Some global fans even referred to Leo, Jiahao, Sangwon, and Anshin as the Big Four, once again reiterating their mirroring backstories of almost debuting that were perpetuated in the first couple episodes of the show, and of their group chemistry amongst themselves. Furthermore, many of the members were in the same groups throughout the survival show, and we had seen their friendships blossom before our eyes. For example, many of the members performed in Whiplash, Chains, Rock, or La La La, and even Queen Card together. Boys to Planet took time to highlight their friendships and demonstrate that their chemistry would be beneficial to the debut group. This may have dissuaded fans from hyper-focusing on one member over the others, as by supporting one member, you had to support their close friends. I'm making generalizations, but I thought that this was important to say as it connects with my next point. The second point that speaks to ALD1's potential to succeed is that fans of Boys to Planet develop stronger emotional connections with the members due to their backstories. As compared to the first season, MNET dedicated a great amount of screen time to showcase the backstories of trainees they favored. The most common of these kinds of backstories was what I would describe as the sob story. For almost all of the ALD1 members, they were introduced as trainees who were taking their last chance, their last crack, at trying to debut. From the get-go, there was high emotional weight placed on supporting these trainees, as it was all or nothing. Sangwon was a part-timer who worked as a barista and DJ after he gave up on his dream to be an idol at only 19 years old after Trainee A fell through. Ganu trained for 7 years and had the opportunity of debuting pulled from underneath him multiple times. Jiahao and Anshin won MakeMate and were promised they would debut, only to be deceived and abandoned. Shinlong, who debuted at 12 years old in Boy Story, was losing his spark and love for music, as his current boy group was losing relevance and he wanted to fall in love with the stage again. Leo, a solo artist, felt lonely not being in a group setting and entered the show to make friends. Junsa had tried acting since his current group WeI was not active and he couldn't see a future with his group. What all of these stories have in common is that they pull on the audience's heartstrings. They're raw, vulnerable, and even heartbreaking. They're real stories of people who had faced rejection over and over again. These are very human experiences, and they are relatable. Who of us hasn't felt hopeless about our career prospects, or felt like no one was acknowledging our talents, the talents that we know we have, but just haven't had the ability to prove? These narratives lead to a higher incentive for star creators to support the debut group that is created through the show. Supporting ALD1 doesn't just mean following a survival show group, it means supporting a group of underdogs to make their dreams become reality. These are narratives that were less highlighted in the first season of Boys Planet. It is clear to me that MNET believes that if people are invested in the members and them on a personal, emotional level, they'll be more likely to support ALD1 regardless if they like the debut track or not. Speaking of their tracks, ALD1 is featuring two songs that were performed on Boys to Planet in their debut EP, Never Been to Heaven and Chains. Similar to Enhypen and their debut EP, these songs connect the group with the survival show they are derived from. Their origin is not forgotten about. In fact, it's acknowledged as their jumping off point. Alpha Drive 1 is an extension of the members' appearances on the show, not a fresh start. Thus, fans of the show may tune into the debut album just to listen to the Boys to Planet songs to see how they are revamped and recorded by the ALD1 members. This provides the opportunity for casual watchers of Boys to Planet to latch on to ALD1 as a group. Last but not least, I want to point out that MNET has made an effort to not just make connections between the fans and the members, but also to make connections between the members themselves. Through filming variety content, the members are able to grow closer and develop connections that fans love watching. It's also just entertaining. This speaks to the point I made earlier about developing a parasocial connection between viewers and artists. To summarize, ALD1 has so much potential. It's almost a guarantee that their debut will be a major success. It's clear that WAKEONE is investing a lot of money into the group as they foresee that they have the potential to succeed and have an audience who is willing to support their work. But the real deciding factor of if ALD1 will be able to outperform their predecessors is how WAKEONE handles their first couple of comebacks. They need to commit to a sound and not flip-flop to follow current trends like they're prone to do with their artists. Take, for example, Kepler and ZB1, where their debut and first comeback were polar opposites of each other. The tonal whiplash between releases sends the message to fans that the identity of both groups is fractured and unstable. It is for this reason that WAKEONE needs to carve out a distinct sound and concept that defines ALD1 as artists, and stick to it for at least a couple musical releases. Once their base sound is established, it is only then they can attempt to experiment outside the confines of this base framework they have created. Fans want some level of consistency. Companies cannot rely on fans simply just liking their artists. They need to supplement this connection with good music and concepts that prove that the group has a cohesive sound and direction. For example, take A Hope, another survival show group managed by F&F Entertainment. They're produced by El Capitan and have a distinct sonic identity: whimsical, nostalgic, and fantasy-esque. For fans, both old and new, a cohesive group identity provides security that the group is in the right hands and knows what they want to say through their music. Ultimately, I predict that ALD1's debut is guaranteed to be a success. The group has a lot going for it, but to what extent they will succeed in the future is a matter of how WAKEONE is able to harness their potential. This will decide their fate, but they will truly drive to the top or plateau into mediocrity. And that's all for my first video. Thank you so much for watching and listening to the ramblings of an overly passionate elite. I hope you enjoyed or agreed with anything I said in this video. To close out, I wanted to give a big shout out to my dear friends who encouraged me to open up this YouTube channel and to post this video. Without their support, I don't think I would have been able to muster up the courage to do this. You're some real ones. Happy debut day to ALD1 too. Their future is as bright as a raw flame. And I have one more thing to say. Okay, Alpha Drive 1, let's go!